Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm having some minor technical difficulties. Let me know in the comments if the audio and video look okay. Because to me, it looks a little rough. But we'll go with it until somebody tells me otherwise in the chat. How's everybody doing today on this Monday evening, afternoon for some of you? I'm Daddy Louie, and if you are not familiar with me, I'm a member of the Circle of Nerds. You can find all of my content over on youtube.com/Circle of Nerds, one word, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribed. That's where the majority of my work goes. So definitely appreciate all of the attention over there. As always, thank you to Renegade for having me on stream today. Atomic Ninja says that everything looks okay, so that's good. Yes, thank you to Renegade for having me on stream. Today we are finishing Louie Kaboom. We started working on him last week, and I really wanted to give him as much love as I could. So without further ado, we're going to go down to the table here and take a look at where we were. So this is, let's make that a little focus there. There we go. So this is where we left off. Looks pretty good. So everything is, of course, we did the wash. That was the last thing we did before we left. And so now our job today is to really focus on bringing the brightness of the colors back to the model, as well as some highlights. And depending on how long that takes, maybe we'll do something cool to the base at the end. I have a feeling that everything else is going to take a while, which is fine. The one thing that we forgot to do, if y'all remember, last time was we forgot to do some of this dark gray on the coils of the uniform, between the soft bits here and the actual rocket on both sides. So that's the first thing we're going to do. And then we'll go from there. So, so that's that. I wish that there was I wish I had a model holder instead of, because when I put them on the table, all you can see is that while I'm grabbing stuff. I wish that I had something to, I don't want to rest him on that. That's terrible. Let's see. What can we do? Oh, I have an idea. Here, let's look at that. Haha. That looks, there we go. So now you guys can look at the model while I'm grabbing stuff. Hey, everybody that's in the chat, welcome. I see Atomic. Shago says, you got your mail-in pledge. Awesome. I got mine also. And I'm going to be giving mine away. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway over on my YouTube channel. I'm kind of working out the details. I've never really done one of those before. So, yeah, I'm going to be giving away I got a lot of stuff to give away. I've got the Psycho box, the Machine Empire box. I got a Legendary Tommy box. I don't even remember what else I got. I got a whole bunch of stuff. So, be on the lookout for that. Love how your unfinished model looks way better than what mine would look like. Well, you got to practice. Practice makes perfect. Your kindergarten teacher was not lying when she said that to you. Alex says, hey, it's Astro. Oh, you changed your name. Hey there. That's cool. I didn't even know you could change your name. What am I looking for? Oh, right. Getting distracted. So that coil on the arm there, that's just some German gray from Vallejo. So that's what we're going to grab up. palette here. And all right, so and the reason that I'm doing this first is because I will definitely want to put some wash on that, so that way I can do that, and then while that's drying, I can start working on the other stuff. Really brighten this guy up. So I'm being really, really careful right now because the model is pretty much done as far as like the base colors go. So I don't want to really compromise anything. I probably could have left these alone, but it would have driven me crazy knowing that that I missed it. So, see, so you inspired me, and I finally bought good paints. Went and bought about 18 colors from Citadel. Nice. This paintbrush is, God, it's terrible. Go back to my Raphael. So I got Louie Kaboom's origin a bit wrong last week. He was made by Rita and Zed as a way to take down the machine empire from within, but Rita lost his remote and he did his own thing. So what, so he wasn't just a rocket that randomly turned into something? Turns out there's a Warhammer store 25 minutes from your house. Nice. That would be dangerous for me. I have so much, so many things that I need from Citadel right now, like paint supplies wise goes. And my local store, and when I mean local store, I have, you know, obviously multiple local stores, but the local game store that's like very local to me, that's like right across the street, he doesn't currently carry paint supplies, and that's a good thing because I would end up going and buying way too much of it. But if you're brand new to painting, like literally never ever painted before, I have videos on my YouTube channel. And also, I did a segment on our podcast last week, which I'm not 100% sure if it's up on YouTube right now, but it definitely will be. And the segment that I did on the podcast, I went over like every basic beginner tip I can think of for painting. So you can definitely go and check that out once it's up there. All right, so that's pretty good. Like, I just want some real basic coverage so that I can throw some wash on there in a second. Yeah, they made him on purpose. So, okay, so now we know he wasn't made randomly, at least. Warhammer guys spend about 10 minutes trying to explain the difference between base, contrast layers, technical paints. Yeah. It's good that you had somebody explain that to you, because I had to figure it out on my own. So the first color that I'm going to do while I let that dry before I put the wash on, I'm actually going to work on these pants because they're pretty interesting. I don't like that they are so different from everything else, so... well, I can certainly try to explain the difference between the what I know anyway, or what I think I know, for bases. What'd you say? Bases, contrast, layers, technical. So contrasts are very different from just about everything else. So I'll start with the contrast. Contrast paints are, they're meant to be a base, a highlight, and a wash all in one. So you use a flat white or a flat gray undercoat. You put the contrast over it, and it will fill in all of the crevices like a wash does. It will base coat all of the flat surfaces like a base coat does. And then as it dries, the difference in contrast between the base coat will create a natural highlight. And so if you are very new, contrast paints are great because you literally just slap it over your primer and you're done. You don't have to do any other painting. So this color that I'm using right now is Wraithbone Base. This is the pot version of the, I say pot version, the paint pot version of the spray that we used as our initial undercoat. And I think I'm going to bring all of this, it's like an off-white color, so let's just kind of see how it looks. Yeah, it looks way, way better. I like that a lot, actually. So on screen, it probably looks pretty just generic white. But in person, it's like an off-white, like an eggshell. And I'm doing that while, again, avoiding those recess areas that we let the wash sit in. Oh yeah, that looks great. White is a very, very, very difficult color to paint. The only color that I think is worse to paint than white is yellow. What's the best Ranger white? The guy at the store strongly suggested I go with White Scar. So, in my opinion, White Scar is too white. It's too bright of a color, and the particular paint is very, very transparent. So you are, with White Scar, you would need to like go over the color so many times to get a solid finish. I would recommend Althuan Gray as the primary white that you use for any painting. That's what I'm going to use to highlight this white back up on the sleeves and stuff. I hardly ever use just a straight white for anything anymore. The only time that I bust out the White Scar or a white similar to White Scar is if I'm doing like an extreme highlight of white. Otherwise, it's Althuan Gray for everything. The only reason I'm not using Althuan Gray on the pants is because I want the pants to be a completely different I want the pants to be a completely different shade of white than the top up here. I want this to be more of a white, and I want this to be more of like an off-white eggshell color. Because if you look at the If you look at the show pictures of him, his pants are a different color. So that's what I'm working on now. How do you feel about Corax white? So Corax is actually more of a... let's see. See if I've got some. Oh, that's Celestra Gray. Corax white is okay. It's more of a base. It's definitely better than White Scar, but not as good as Althuan Gray. Like I said, white is a very difficult color to paint, so it really just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And of course, these are all like more, like what I'm saying is more of like an expert tip or like an above intermediate tip. For beginning painting, White Scar is fine. You know, Corax white is fine. You're really just, you're learning and you're trying to get the foundation down. I used White Scar forever until I discovered Althuan Gray. I'm not liking anymore how this is turning out. I did like it in the beginning, and now I don't like it at all. Because this is pretty transparent stuff. So I'm getting... I'm going to have to go over it like 10 times, which I was trying to avoid. And I'm trying to save them recesses. This is where these pants are probably a good time to do the these pants are probably, if you're following along with me and you haven't gotten to this step yet, these pants are probably a good time to do selective shading instead of the way I shaded them by putting a wash over the whole thing. Or just put a wash over the whole thing and then just like leave it, which is also an option. Because not getting any color where I don't want it is not, it's not working out the way I want it to. Yellow, Averland Sunset or Flash Gits. So Flash Gits is a layer, whereas Averland Sunset is a base. So if you're only getting one, I recommend Averland Sunset because it's going to be a thicker. It's not going to be as transparent. So you know, for your basing and your highlighting, it's going to be easier to use that one yellow than the Flash Gits is. Flash Gits is brighter and it finishes nicer. But again, if you're only getting one, because yellow is such a difficult color to paint, that's the one that I recommend getting. Yes, that is a good point. That that Rangers are different shades of color depending on the image. I've learned that the hard way. So that's why I don't necessarily paint all my blue Rangers with the same blue, or all of my, you know, red Rangers with the same red. Just depends on what I'm in the mood for. If you're brand new to Citadel paints and you're going to only get one of a certain color, the rule of thumb should always be to start with a base coat, because it's going to cover the model a little better, and you can always create highlights mixing colors together. So if you want a brighter yellow, you can add a little bit of white to it. If you want a brighter red, you can add a little bit of orange to it, or a little bit of yellow, just depending, etc. Yeah, I'm not a fan of those pants. I should have left them alone. Well, lesson learned. The Green Rangers in particular, I went back and forth with several different kinds of green to decide what I really liked the most before I settled on something. And I'm still not 100% convinced that it's the best color. It really just depends. There's so many really great greens out there for paint. Green's one of my favorite colors to paint, so probably green, blue, and red. And purple. So I'm finding that I'm getting some paint in some wash areas that I don't want. I'm going to have to reapply some wash in those areas when I'm done. Yeah, Warpstone Glow is the one that everyone seems to find is the best. When I first started painting Power Rangers, like the day I got it, I actually didn't own Warpstone Glow, and the Green Ranger was one of the first Rangers I painted, so I had to experiment with some other stuff. I now have Warpstone Glow, but my initial Green Ranger is not painted with Warpstone, and I like the way it looks a lot, so really just depends. Pink Horror is the pink that I like. So hopefully this is the worst part of the whole model. I'm gonna come back to these pants later after all this is dried. I'm just not happy with how they turned out. Lesson learned here. I probably should have just put the just left it the way that it was with just the shade on there. We'll see how it looks once I get new layers on. This is like the third layer I've put on that kneecap, and the paint is still transparent. I can still see the shade through the 3 layers of color. And this is a base coat. That's why I say white is such a pain. Yeah. Alright, we'll let that sit. So, let's see. What color should I go with next? I'm thinking blue, since that's the primary color. So blue we're going to use, go back to our Calidor Sky. That's the blue that we started with. Let's see, I'm going to grab my number 1. Hopefully it cooperates. It's probably way too much paint. Holy moly. All right. See, Techless Blue. Yeah. All right. So the object here again is to just really bring those colors back while avoiding like the edges and stuff. Ritz says, for someone who's new to minis, what is your biggest advice? Can I have two? Can I have two pieces of advice? So, I'm going to assume you're going to say, yeah, that's totally fine. Okay. My first piece of advice is slow down. Take your time. Model, like, they're your models. They're not going anywhere. So, like, you already own them, you know, assuming that you've bought them. And it's not a contest to see who can have their minis finished painting the fastest. I can't tell you how many times, even as a more advanced painter or somebody who's been painting a long time, even still to this day, I get frustrated when a new release comes out. I finally got it. I'm opening it up, and I go to Facebook or whatever. I look online, and people are completely done painting everything already. And I'm like, dang, you know, like I don't have the same amount of time that everybody has, or that these people who do that seem to take. And that's okay. Like, for me, painting is really stress relieving. It's really, really fun to do. But I don't get to do it very often, and that's okay. Like, I just need to learn to slow down, because I'll find myself doing that. Like, oh, I gotta get this model done because I need to move on to the next one so that I can be complete. You're never going to be complete. There's always going to be something else to paint, assuming you enjoy the hobby. So just take your time. That would be the biggest piece of advice. The next piece of advice would be is to be mindful of your budget. You can't have every color, every, you know, brush. There's going to be things that you're going to want that you just can't get all the time right away. Just be mindful. Don't go out and buy, you know, 100 bottles of paint your first time painting. Don't go out and buy the most expensive brushes on the market. Don't go out and buy, you know, everything. You want to be mindful. And I guess that goes with take your time, right? So I guess it's one piece of advice if you look at it like that. It's really, you're just not going to have everything. There are still, like, I've been buying paints, you know, like I said, 5-6 years, and there are still so many colors in the Citadel line, in, you know, every line, basically every paint line, that I just don't have. I don't have it, and that's okay. If you are really new to the hobby, I highly recommend the Citadel Painting App. It lets you log which paints you have right on the app, and then it also lets you add some to your wish list. So let's say you're watching me or you're watching another YouTuber who uses a paint color that you don't have, and you're like, man, I really want that. You can actually go into the app, add it to your wish list, and then next time you're in the store, you just open your app, and then you can see which paints it was that you were wanting to get. So, and I use that dang thing all the time. You just have to remember to update it, because I've bought paints that I've already bought before because I forgot to add them onto the list. So yeah, that's a good point of, that's a good way of putting it. Think of it like a tool set. Right now I'm just trying to avoid these highlights, these darker spots around the, I think it's called the Citadel, let me see. It's called Citadel Color. Looks like that. And then you, like I said, it's just, and this is just for Citadel. There's another one called Paint Rack, which I think you have to pay for. I think it's like $4.99. But really awesome because check this out. I know I'm getting off topic here, but check this out. So this is Paint Rack. And then these are all the paints, like all the paints, not the paints you own. These are just all the paints. And it's broken down by type. So you've got like Citadel, Vallejo, Reaper, Ammo, what, like literally all of them, right? So like scale 75, and I haven't used this in a while. So you can show your paint, like show mega filter on, show my paints. I have no paints logged for Citadel or for scale 75, right? But I can go in here to scan, start. Now check this out. Let me grab one of my scale 75s. Here's my scale 75. Dang, I'm doing this with one hand. Scanned it. Go back. Library. Scale, where to go? Of course, it's not going to work now for me. Watch. I can't even find it. But you get the point, right? So you can scan your colors right in there, and then it will tell you what colors you have on the app. So that's really cool too. So that's another thing that I've got. So it's just little things like that that will make your life a little easier. What brushes do you recommend? So that's a loaded question. Brushes is a loaded question because I am kind of a stickler for brushes. So I like using very nice, very expensive paintbrushes. But you do not need that at all, especially if you're just starting out. My recommendation would be to go on Wish or Amazon or go to your local craft store and just buy a packet of brushes that comes like with multiple brushes. And just start with something like that. Don't invest in expensive brushes right away. But if you would like to buy a nice brush, my recommendation for a starter brush to get you started would be a Winsor Newton Series 7 number 1 or number 0, preferably number 1. That's what I'm using right now. This brush here can do anything. It can do, like you saw me just do, it can do big flat surfaces like, you know, on a model like this as a base coat. But you can get a nice enough point on it to do things as small as eyeballs. So that's why I personally love this brush. I've been slowly transitioning away from it to try other stuff because they're not cheap. This is about $15 to $20 depending on where you shop for it. Just for one brush. You can get a full set of brushes for $5 at a craft store or like on Amazon or on Wish. So, yeah. But I'm really weird about brushes. I like using expensive brushes. So, I do have a bunch of cheap brushes, but I mostly use them for dry brushing and stuff like that. Pack of 3 for $3. That's it. That's perfect. I got, here, let me show you. I got all of these for $5 on Wish, and it took like less than 10 days for them to get here. You know, usually when you order stuff on Wish, it takes forever. These, like I said, this set of paintbrushes was $5, and I think I paid like $5. And it took me like 10 days to get them. Like, it was really quick. So, and I use those. I use them all the time. No, don't be nervous. Like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, definitely don't let it be nervous. If you've never ever painted before, definitely recommend you start with, one of the putties or something like that, just to mess around. You can even paint them, whatever colors you're gonna paint a ranger, just to again get your technique down, learn your way around the brush and the paint, learn how the paint flows, learn how much water you need to water stuff down with. There are a lot of great beginner painting sets for people brand new to the hobby. Army Painter makes an excellent one. They make a few really good ones. You don't have to start with an expensive company like Citadel for paints. I didn't. I actually started with Reaper, because Reaper has a fantastic starter set that comes with a model, a brush, and everything to get you started, to mess around with. And that's what I started with. And I still, to this day, that was 6 years ago-ish, and I still, to this day, have every single paint that came in that set. I don't necessarily use them all, but I still have them, and I still, consider using them when I need those particular colors. And I think the Reaper stuff in particular, I think that set is on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. What you think is a good cheap primer? Rust-Oleum makes good primer. If you're not wanting to spend a lot, it's like less than $5 a can. So for the price of one can from Citadel, you can get at least 4 different colors from Rust-Oleum. You can get like a gray, a black, a white. Just make sure that if you're going to get a Rust-Oleum, make sure it's primer, not paint and primer. Because Rust-Oleum makes a lot that say like paint and primers. Yep, there's black primers, white primers, gray primers, And when you get into the expensive primers that like Citadel makes, you can even get blue primers. And Army Painter makes some too. I shouldn't just say, like I have Army Painter. I have a lot of Army Painter primers that are different colors. You can get silver primers. But again, for a beginner, just start with a white and a black. I used to use black for everything for my primer when I first started. And now, as I've become more experienced as a painter, I much prefer white for most of my painting. Even black models, like the Black Ranger and stuff like that, I will prime white. How do I decide what primer to use? Well, like I just said, most of the time it's not really a choice. I just go with white. The times that I will not use white is if I'm batch painting. So in the case of, let's say, if I'm painting like a big batch of putties, for example, I don't, because the primary color is not going to be white, I will prime them in whatever the primary color is going to be. So, in their case, I prime them in gray because they're primarily going to be gray. Same thing if I'm going to paint something metallic and the majority of the model is made out of metal, then I will prime in silver. If the majority of the model is black, I will prime in black if I'm batch painting. If it's a model like a Black Ranger, I will usually do white. Black is difficult for me because, in my opinion, black is. Hang on, sorry, I'm trying to not get any paints in the cracks here. So when it comes to black is different. I have a different mindset with black. So, answer me this. How many shades of black are there? The answer is one. There's one shade of black and it's black. There is no shade of black. Like, the color itself, black, has no shade. It has no depth. It is a shadow, right? Because shadows are black. So, painting black, if you want to create shadows with black, you need to paint with gray. You need to use gray to highlight. Like, when you're highlighting black, you're not highlighting with black. For example, like, not to overcomplicate it, right? But I'm painting this model with blue. To highlight this blue, I need a brighter blue. There's no such thing as a brighter black. The brightest blacks are gray. That's why these coils, right? These coils on the model, for example, on the pictures, they are black. But I didn't paint them with black. I painted them with a dark gray. And then I put a black wash over top of it. The black wash will settle in the recesses of the gray to create black. And then I can highlight the dark gray with a little bit of a lighter gray to give it some, dimension. But if I had painted them black and then I put a black wash on it, I'm literally doing nothing. Does that make sense? Because you're putting a black wash over black. You're not creating any depth or dimension. So the same rule applies with if I'm going to prime a model with black. Let's say the Black Ranger, for example. If I want to paint the Black Ranger and I prime him in black, there's no reason to put a wash on him because all of the recesses of the model are already black. You can't make black darker. You know what I mean? But if I paint him with a dark gray, if I prime him with a dark gray, I can then put a wash on him to create the recesses to be black. And then I can highlight up with the gray and give him some dimension. And that's my train of thought. Now, I'm not an expert, so that's not to say that that's the way it is, and, you know, there's no other way, because that's not true. Like, I want to show you guys something. I'm going to switch over to my big screen here. So this is not even every color that scale 75 makes, okay? This is not every wash that Citadel and Army Painter makes. This huge bin is not everything that everybody else makes. So when I say I'm still learning about colors and stuff like that, I mean, that's like 5 years worth of paint. And I'm still learning, like, how different colors work and stuff like that. Like, it's crazy. Have you ever stripped a painted figure? Yes, I have. For me, the easiest way that I have found to strip a painted miniature is to use simple green. And there's lots of tutorials out there on YouTube to do that. I would definitely watch something before you try to do it if you're not experienced. And when it comes to plastic, you of course want to watch the miniature once you put it into the chemical so that it doesn't, like, it just eats the paint. It doesn't eat the mini. Did I mention I hate the way these pants are turning out? This paint color is not great. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. Question. If someone wanted to commission a figure, is that something you'd do? I've done it in the past. So I guess it just depends on the circumstances. I won't say no, but I guess it just depends on the figure and the timeline and the customer and stuff like that. But I have painted for people in the past. Have you ever used anything like green stuff? Sure, yeah. I'm not very good with it. Like, I'm not as good as like some other people. Some people are like, oh man, the things that they can do with green stuff is crazy. Like the molding and the creating of new models, and there's it's just crazy how some of the things that people can do with green stuff. As an example, like one of the miniatures games that I play, a character came out for that game, and they wanted the character to have on a jacket, like a long coat. And so they just made one out of green stuff, and it looked like it came on the model. It was crazy. Like, he gave the model like a trench coat, 100% out of green stuff. It's just like, man, I wish that I knew how to do all that. But me, it just ends up being like old Play-Doh stuck on my fingers. Did you use white, then gray wash on your whole model, then go with brighter colors? So I did, on this model, it was an undercoat of Wraithbone from Citadel. Then it was all of the color that you see, minus the sleeves, the gloves, and the pants. I left those the undercolor. And then I put a black wash on the entire model except for the pants. The pants I put a brown wash on. And then I should have left it alone because these pants are being difficult to highlight. Green stuff is a little like modeling clay, yes. But it gets like, you don't have to bake it the way modeling clay does. It just hardens like within a day. It does remind me of my old school gym sweatpants, yeah. Slightly off topic, but have you seen or heard of a new Masters of the Universe game? So, the Masters of the Universe game, the way that I understand it is there's two that are coming out. And I'm not very happy about it. Because I'm a ginormous Masters of the Universe fan. There's one coming out, and I think it's a rights issue, so it's an IP issue. So there's a company that's making a game. I don't know if it's crowdfunded or not, but it's Europe only. And right now, they've already released a limited edition version of He-Man on Battlecat, and then they just announced that they were releasing a limited edition of Skeletor on his cat. I think Panthro, is that the cat's name? But anyway, you can't get them if you're in the United States. It's so dumb. And the game, and the reason that you can't get them in the United States is because There's a US company that is releasing a miniatures game as well for Masters of the Universe. And I guess they have the monopoly on the US market. So that game won't be sold in Europe. And the one that I really want is only sold in Europe, which is so stupid. Like, oh, it drives me crazy because those miniatures look so cool. And I want to paint them so, so bad. But guess what? Can't get them. Super dumb. Now, I don't know which of the games are going to be crowdfunded. I mean, it could be both. It could just be one. I'm not sure. I don't know when the US game comes out. They haven't released any information on it at all from what I can find. The only information that we've seen has been from the Europe only game. And the only information that I've seen is just the models of the limits. And they're limited to like 2,500, I think, pieces. So, like, I wanted to get 2 of each. One to take out of the package and paint, and one to keep in the package as a collector. But I can't get either. And I have a feeling that what's going to end up happening is the US version is just the models aren't going to be as nice. And I guess that's why I'm frustrated, is because I don't have the option. I'm like stuck with whatever I get. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but I have a feeling it's going to be more like cartoonish. And the ones from the Europe game look really like realistic. I don't have any friends on the German base anymore. Yeah, it's the same with the Heroes of the Grid stuff. It's so frustrating. And hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the US game comes out and it's like the models are amazing and I'm like, haha, you know, I can get these and you can't. But I just, in my gut's telling me that it's going to be the other way around. Just by looking at the models for the freaking, the European version, because they're just so, so good. You too. It was nice to meet you. And if you ever have any questions, just let me know. I'm always available. So the Europe one is by a company that only does crowdfunding. And again, I'm fine. I'm totally fine with it being crowdfunding. I just don't I mean, Lord knows I buy enough for friggin' Kickstarters, you know. But the fact that they won't ship to the U.S. I can't even go on their website right now and buy the models that they've already got out because they're Europe only. They ship Europe only. I haven't checked eBay, but I'm sure eBay has them, but it's like a ridiculous upcharge, and shipping's probably astronomical. I generally don't like to buy things from eBay that are upcharged. I don't like to support scalpers. It's the reason I don't have the sad face. I don't have the new AEW action figures because they sold out in like 5 minutes and now they're all upcharged on eBay. Frustrating. Anyway, this guy's coming along quite nicely, other than the pants. Right now, we're just giving some more color to the places that were dulled down. Those reds and blues look really nice and bright. I mean this in the sweetest and least creepy way possible, but you should do a shirtless stream for all the thirsty ladies out there. Really? I can promise you there are no thirsty ladies out there. Not for me anyway. I can promise you that. I know why they do them, but I personally dislike Kickstarter exclusive stuff. It's what kept me from getting the... Oh, I see. I don't know. The pants are... I mean, maybe the more that I do them, they'll keep looking better. There's just some spots that I can see that I don't... that aren't... I'm not too happy with. I'll have to keep working them. I'm trying to figure out what color I want to do now. I do need to do a little bit of green for the eyes. All right. Let's see. I think we can do some silver next. With the silver, you need to be very careful because there's some really, really nice shading in that silver, and you don't want to cover that up on accident. But, like, especially the parts on the back, you can just see how, like, splotchy it is. So really, it's the flat surfaces that you're wanting to get silver back onto, while leaving the shade in the recesses, of course. I hear what you're saying about not liking Kickstarter exclusive stuff. I gotta give it up to Renegade because they have not kept Kickstarter exclusive stuff very exclusive. Which, you know, some people really like that, and then there's other people out there that are bummed because, you know, they do like Kickstarter exclusive stuff. They want to be able to have something that they know no one else has and no one else can get. The only time that that's true for me is for stuff that's like competitive. You know, if we're going to sit down at the table and I've ordered my stuff and you've ordered your stuff and I've got, you know, a Kickstarter exclusive model that you don't have, that's pretty cool. But for a board game and stuff where we're like, especially a cooperative board game, I want everybody to have access to everything. Yep, that they are. Which is good. I mean, I feel like it's really helped their player base, you know, because everybody has everything available to them for most of the time. I feel like with Kickstarter, like, especially like, you know, like with this, like, the thing that you should get because you're ordering on Kickstarter is a discount. It shouldn't be content that no one else has. It drives me crazy. Like, I do game reviews, obviously. I mention that all the time, but like, it'll drive me crazy when somebody will send me a game to review that was on Kickstarter before, and now they want me to review like the retail version of the game. And I'll go to like their website and stuff to see like what information I can get that they have public to other people. And I'll fall in love with a game, and this has happened more times than I can count. I'll fall in love with a game. I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I got to review this game. And then come to find out there's all this stuff for it that I don't have and I can't get because, you know what I mean? Like, it was a Kickstarter exclusive. And I'm like, and I mean, we're talking like expansions and stuff. Like, don't make an expansion for the game that's Kickstarter only. That's dumb. Because then when your retail people fall in love with it, they're like, yeah, I don't agree with it. Alternate sculpts and stuff like that, that's one thing, but full content, not cool, man. Not cool. Do you think Renegade will eventually release all the models in the Kickstarter exclusive box to retail or just select few? Um, I think that That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. There's little teeny, teensy weensy, tiny rivets on his helmet. These are going to be mega not fun to paint. Whew. So, I mean, as far as them releasing stuff, I don't think that they'll release them. They might release them individually in other stuff, and it will be alternate sculpts. Like, Zed might come in another pack of some kind. Don't ask me what, but could come in another pack, and it'll be like an alternate sculpt from the original box that he came in. I don't think it'll be like the same sculpt, and I don't think that he'll come like by himself. Sorry, these rivets are really tiny. That's why I'm not talking. Trying to make sure that I don't, like, get silver where I don't want silver. That's perfect. All right. I think that's all the silver, looks like. The new Forever Rangers set. Well, the only... yeah, you're right about the Forever Ranger thing. All right. I keep working on these dang pants. I'm definitely going to have to do some selective shading here. These pants to get the shade back in spots that I jacked up on. I haven't played since... Last time I played Power Rangers was Halloween last year. So over a year. I'm much more of a painter than I am a player. Yeah, it's been a minute. My normal group of people that I can play games with is not big on Power Rangers. You know what? Maybe that's not true. Maybe I played... Nope, that is true. Yeah, Halloween last year. The majority of my normal gaming group does not... are not Power Ranger fans, so when we do get to game, it's tough to get them to want to play. And the main person that I have played with is currently stationed in Italy. So, yeah. And he usually comes back every 6 months or so. So we get games in then, a lot of games. But with COVID and everything, he hasn't been able to come back since when we played last time. Yeah, it stinks. COVID is not good. Thanks, Atomic. I appreciate that. You sure do have all the cool Masters of the Universe models, apparently. I don't even remember what the mastermind mode was now. I gotta go back and look at the rule book thing. Oh, that's right. So you said it was awesome. Do you think that it's better than playing the normal way? So you have two groups. The one I played. Oh, you have two groups. I see. That makes sense. This part's gonna be not fun. I gotta do the whites of the eyes. Whew. Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Yeah, the Shadow Ranger is actually the only model that I was missing. And I ended up being able to add it to my order when I ordered the Forever Ranger stuff, and then they actually shipped it to me instead of having to wait until the Forever Ranger stuff comes out. I actually got it in my Psycho Ranger box, which was cool. Even though I didn't order it until I pre-ordered the other stuff, so I was really happy to see that show up because it was the only thing that I was missing. Because I was on a cruise when the order came out and I missed it. I was super sad. I'm getting to the point now where like I'm having trouble finding things to paint. That's not true. I can always find stuff to paint. But I got it, so it's not terrible. Alright, what am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing stuff. Those pants don't look great. Really bummed about how they're turning out. What can I do to fix it? So I'm going to do a little bit of selective washing. I don't normally like to do this, but I think in this case I have to. You threw it out? Oh, you thought you'd accidentally thrown it out. I'd have been so sad for you. I'm going to do some more selective washing back on the arm sleeves. And then we're going to do some fun highlighting. Yeah, I don't blame you. That would have been a big bummer. Glad you found it. Just realized I forgot to color in the teeth, so that's going to be fun. From the new villain pack, Thrax, who are you most looking forward to painting? They all look pretty fun. I think... I don't know. Piranha Head is... maybe Piranha Head. I'm going to say Piranha Head. Alright, so that's pretty good on the teeth. Alright. So now we're going to do some cool highlights. I'm actually pretty happy with the pants now. I was not happy with the pants, and now I'm digging the pants. So I actually need to start with the red as far as the highlights go. I need to get some more paint. And the reason that I'm going to start with the red is just in case we run out of time. All the other colors are pretty good. Like, I don't necessarily need them to be highlighted. Where's my Evil Sun Scarlet? Did I already get it out? That was weird. I was literally looking right at it, and then it fell down behind the, anyway. So yeah, the reason I'm going to start with the red is because the blue, I'm actually kind of digging the blue as is. So we'll see how we're doing on time. I need to be thinking about what I want for the base color. to be. Because we can't leave it white. We gotta do something with it. What do you guys think I should do for the base? Ooh, a desert look. You know what? I'm going to stop what I'm doing right now. And I'm actually going to do that. Come on. Aha. Yes, sir. Probably should have done this at the beginning, but that's all right. Next week, we're going to paint another Psycho Ranger. I can't remember which one I told them I was going to paint. Either yellow or pink. I don't remember which one. Sorry, I didn't realize I was doing that off camera. Alright, now we gotta let that black dry. And then back to our red. ahead while we let that dry. Has anybody else paint? I mean, I heard some people got their shipment. Anybody else already painted Louie Kaboom? Or going to paint Louie Kaboom soon? If I can do it, you can do it. It's not about skill, it's definitely about practice. Promise you that. Would you believe me if I told you I have really bad carpal tunnel? Wow, the eyes look great. I have everything that's available and none of it's painted. That's alright. At least you get to play. I think I'd rather have everything ready to play than everything painted and not be able to play. If that makes sense. We may go a few minutes over on the stream today, so don't jet out. I don't think that there's anything going on after this stream, so I don't think I'm gonna bother anybody else's stream here. But I really want to get that base done now. That's pretty much all the red. Looks really crisp, really sharp. Alright, let me grab my older paintbrush here. We're going to use Agrelin Earth in order for... Oh no, is it all dried out? No. I don't know if that's supposed to be that chalky or not. Alright, well, we'll just put it on and see what happens. I've had this for a long time, and I've only used it like once or twice, so we'll see. See what ends up happening here. And we'll see what that does. It's very possible that this stuff is old and it won't work. It's supposed to give it a desert look. We'll see. And I got some on the feet, so I'm going to have to fix those. The rest of the model looks really good, though. just goes to show you, like, when you paint, though, like, you really can, like, go forever with your painting. Like, I could, we've already spent, 4 hours on the model, and we, I could keep going. I mean, I'm going to stop and call him done, but there's so many areas still left that I could highlight, especially with the blue. We didn't even touch the blue highlights. The base is doing nothing, so I think that stuff was dried out, which stinks. But what it's supposed to do, like I said, is it's supposed to crack and look like deserted earth. Desert earth. But like as soon as it's dry, it's supposed to do it, and it's dry now, and it's not doing it. But that's all right. Good attempt. Yeah, I think he looks pretty good. I'm gonna fix the shoes. Have you ever painted something late at night and thought it was great and looked at it the next day and been like, oh my, what did I do? Yes, I have. The other thing, too, that is a good way of, shocking yourself into the truth of how bad you painted something is to take a picture of it. So you look at it like we're looking at this now, and you're like, man, it looks really, really good. And then take a picture of it, and then blow the picture up. And you can see, things that you can only see if you, like, hold the model really close to your face. So that's a fun way of, making yourself feel sad about the great job that you did. I try not to do that too often. I mean, I take pictures of everything that I paint because I put it up on my Instagram and share it on the Facebook groups, and Renegade uses them to, make the thumbnails for the YouTube videos and stuff. So I always take pictures anyway, but, I try not to blow them up and look at them too hard because they make me feel sad. I'm just grabbing some gold really quick while I do my little outro. So I think everybody here is pretty familiar with me. If you're not, then I am I'm Daddy Louie. I am over on YouTube. You can find my content at youtube.com/Circle of Nerds. I appreciate everybody who goes over there and gives us a subscribe. We actually just hit over 500 subs this past week, so I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to be giving away I'm going to start giving away a lot of Power Rangers stuff. So I've got a lot of Power Rangers stuff to give away, so please go over there and subscribe to that. Thank you to Renegade for having me on the stream. I love being here, and I love doing this with you guys and for you guys. So thank you to Renegade for letting me continue to do that. I'm sure there's other people who'd like to do it too, but they let me do it, so that's really, really cool. I hope everybody enjoys their week. I hope everybody is safe. Take care of yourself. Help take care of others. Be there for your fellow man and or woman. And yeah, I was just fixing those shoes. That base turned out really poopy. Sorry about that. I'll have to do something about that off camera. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. It looks like it is cracking a little bit. Maybe I didn't put enough on there. I think the bottle that I had was just really shitty. But anyway. Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you to Renegade. Remember to play your games and enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.